He's been picked out. Sops down to his ankle. Picks out Stansfield. That's the hat-trick. And that's what dreams are made of.
Hello everybody and welcome to Park Life, the official Exeter City podcast. My name's Tom Picillo and today we've got a bit of a different show for you. We've decided to get you, the listeners, involved in this week's episode, offering you the chance to get your questions in for Alex Hartridge and also win a pair of big bank tickets for our game against Northampton later in the month. Listen out for some questions later in the episode to be in for a chance of winning. Coming up in today's episode, I speak to City defender Alex Hartridge to get his thoughts on City's start to the campaign, and you get your answers too. I don't want to give too much away, but be prepared for some partridge from Alex Hartridge. I also chat with Finnish journalist Eetu Ikola to check in on our two international stars and hear how Viljami Sinisalo is spreading his love for the Grecians around the world. Finally, I'm joined by Tash Knapman from Exeter City women's team to get the latest from the camp as they prepare for their huge clash with Moneyfields at St James Park next week. Let's kick things off then with a chat with City defender Alex Hartridge. He's already got a rare goal to his name this season and has been a huge contributor to preserving the 4 clean sheets the Grecians have kept this season. Let's check in to hear his thoughts on the start to the campaign. Alex, welcome to Park Life. Great to have you with us. This is going to be an interview of two halves, if you like. The first half will consist of me asking you a few questions about your start to the season, whilst the second half will be a bit more fun, I guess. I've asked our lovely listeners to come up with a few questions they want to hear the answers for. So be warned, these are incredibly serious, hard-hitting questions. I'm sure they'll leave you quaking in your boots. Obviously, only joking. They're very light-hearted and a little bit silly, which we love here on Park Life. Is that all good with you?
Yeah, that's good. I'm excited.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, you should be. You should be. So City have started the season really strongly. 13 points from 7 games is a great return and sees City sit third in the League One table. What do you make of the start of the campaign for you and the team?
It's been really positive. I think going into the season, I think if you said give us 13 points after 7 games, we would have taken it. Looking back on it, obviously the Saturday result fresh in our memories, that leaves a bit of a sour taste. But if you look at it as a whole, as a block of games, then yeah, we're really happy with it.
Yeah, and I suppose it's been a strong start for you as well, personally. 4 clean sheets, all coming when you have played 90 minutes. You've also played a crucial role in preventing a lot of goals that, to be honest, might have found their way in the back of the net last season. Do you feel like you've made a significant improvement from last year?
It's always hard to gauge. I've been really happy with my performances this year. There's so many factors that go into it. It's all about how the team are doing and what situations you put in. Yeah, I think we've worked a lot on our defending this year. Probably with a change of style and a new manager, we didn't adapt to that quick enough and probably lost track of kind of the basics of defending. And we did a lot of that in the off season and pre-season, and it seems to have paid off. I feel a lot more comfortable in what would have been panic situations or really bread and butter defensive moments for us.
Yeah, and I suppose with the recruits that Gary's made over the summer, of course, you've got Zach Jules, who's come into the back line, a couple others as well. Do you feel like there's a bit of competition, really, in the back line at the moment and something to play for there?
Yeah, definitely. Zach's predominantly a central defender in my position, so yeah, that keeps you on the toes. He's been used in a different position at the moment, and I think, to be honest, that's probably helped me having him there as a defensive-minded player. Probably gives you a little bit more protection than a real winger in that profile. But yeah, competition's always healthy, and it's almost a surprise that not based on the results, but the fact that we've played a pretty steady back three for the start of the season with the numbers that we've got there now.
For sure. And I suppose no team is perfect, despite a strong start. City hosted Leyton Orient last weekend, and the O's snatched a late winner to take all 3 points away from St James Park. The manager's clearly identified what went wrong there. Where do you stand on what went wrong against Leyton Orient on Saturday?
You have those games where you're not at it. I think we've had a run of 6 games where kind of approach has been spot on, I'd say, going into them. And this was one where, for a variety of reasons, we went into it probably potentially not in the right mindset. And yeah, we suffered for that. We could have been plenty of goals down in the first half, and we talked about it today. We score a good goal, and we almost can't believe our luck there. And we need to see the game up. But no, we weren't good enough, and you have those games, and you just need to learn from them, and we certainly will.
For sure. And, well, a chance to put things right on Saturday. Cheltenham at home this weekend. A side that, to be honest, we struggled against last season. The Robins secured a 1-0 win last time they visited the park. Are you expecting another tough battle with them?
Yeah, definitely. I'd probably, don't know, tempt fate, but I can't remember beating Cheltenham in the league since I've been playing for Exeter. So yeah, we know what they're about, and our games against them are always pretty similar. Yeah, they snatched the last 3 or 4 times that I can remember. It's been an odd goal, so it's going to be tight. They know us, we know them. But yeah, we need to get back to what we have been doing this season, and we'll be full of confidence for that.
For sure. And, well, that's all of my questions, but let's move on to some of the questions we got from the listeners. And we had a load of questions, so thank you all for sending them in. Let's get cracking then. Let's be honest, I think we all expected a few questions about your hair. So let's crack on with those and get those out of the way nice and quickly. So Gabe has come in and said, is it true that Erling Haaland copied your ponytail? Is that true?
I'm not sure he knows who I am. I definitely didn't copy his. I'm not a fan of the shaved sides. But yeah, you won't be seeing that from me anytime soon.
Cheyenne from the club office has said, what is your hair care routine? I think she needs a few tips.
Very minimal from me. I have no idea what I'm doing with it. So the standard shampoo, conditioner once a week.
Nice.
When I remember, and then wash it.
Lovely. Throw it in a bun and get ready.
Throw it in a bun, so it's very low maintenance actually.
Well, Alex has asked the dreaded question. Have you ever considered chopping it off?
It will come off at some point.
Maybe a short back and sides?
Yeah, something like that. Definitely not the skinhead. The hair growth is a bit of a response to an attempt at a lockdown skinhead, which exposed my small head. I've grown hair to try and add some volume.
Okay, cool. On to some football questions then. And AJ has asked, who did you support when growing up, and who was your favourite player?
Probably similar to a lot of people my age. I'm a bit of a Glory supporter, or I probably must be. I was an Arsenal fan and still am after a brief hiatus from supporting. And Thierry Henry was my favourite player to watch from that team. They were successful when I chose the team, and then not much since.
Was there a defender who you looked up to?
Not really. I didn't want to be a defender.
Wanted to be a striker?
No one wants to be a defender.
What made you want to become a defender?
I think I was just tall as a kid, and obviously not gifted enough to score any goals. Probably not composed enough, which is probably still on show when I'm in front of goal.
I had the same. I got thrown in goal from a young age and stuck there. Brad has asked if you could play with any defender, past or present, who would it be? And the answer can't be Will Aimson and Pierce Sweeney.
They would have been
top of the list.
They would have been very close to the top of the list. I think from football at the moment, I'd say Kyle Walker, just because he'd probably get me out of a lot of situations. I'd get him playing on my side, and then I can make lots of aggressive errors, and he'll just mop it up.
Yeah, I mean, it's the perfect solution, really. Richard asks, who has been the toughest player to play against? Maybe looking at that Ipswich game last season.
The reason why they were so good was because they were all a threat. I think someone, we Exeter know well, and I've always found tough, was Verdane Oliver, who was at Northampton when we played them in the playoff final. And then I played against him at Gillingham. You always want a striker to be physical or a runner, and he's a bit of both.
Tom asks, what's your best moment as an Exeter City player?
Personally, definitely my debut. It's a long time ago now. Yeah, a bit of a whirlwind really, because I'd been injured and not anywhere near the squad before my injury, and then came back, and it was kind of just chance that over Christmas Woody needed a rest, and I got a run out. So that personally, I think obviously the promotion was amazing. Not ideal that I wasn't kitted up or on the pitch, but no, that was definitely special for those two.
Yeah. Jordan asks, who is the worst music taste in the dressing room?
Worst music taste?
Can't be you, surely.
No, not well. It wouldn't be me, because if it's my taste, I obviously like it. I'm going to throw Sam Alfieri, the physio, in there. I like some of the stuff he's got going on, but we were in the gym today and it didn't match the vibe.
Who's got the best music taste then?
I would say me, but then you're going to ask me who I'm putting on. I'm nowhere near the speaker. Too much pressure for me. Dimmy's on there at the moment, and there's not many complaints coming from me.
Very good. What do you do? This is Al. What do you do in your spare time away from football? Walks down.
There's
the
a
beach?
lot of it. Yeah, we was talking to Carl about this. As someone who grew up close to the beach, it's less exciting as a day out.
I agree.
So for me, whenever I can, I'm on the golf course.
Who's the best golfer in the squad?
Best golfer in the squad is Will Aimson. Okay. But yeah, Will or the gaffer if he counts.
Yeah.
I think they're both pretty similar.
Okay.
In handicap.
I didn't know he fancied a round of golf, did Gary? But nice to hear. But during the game, Tom asks, what's your favourite City chant and do you like your own?
I do. I'm a big fan of my own. I think you can tell it's coming before I've just learned the intro to it. So, no, it's amazing to have that. I find sometimes when I'm not playing that well, they'll bring it out and give me a little boost. But
which you always need. Of course.
Yeah. No, I think favourite chant, if not my own, is the Roman walls one.
Yes, one of my favourites.
Lots of clapping.
Yes.
Plenty of rhythm in there.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And it's good for, you can get involved without really belting it. You can start with a clap and then build your confidence.
Do you find yourself singing along when you're on the pitch?
Not during the game, but
Maybe
in the
in your
warm up, I'll give it a little clap.
Another question then from Dartington and Totnes Cricket Club. I'm not sure if you've got any association with those guys.
Yes, that's my club.
That is your club. So they've asked, is football your favourite sport? I suppose the other answer would be cricket.
Bit of a leading question, that isn't. It's funny. I think I would rather watch cricket.
Okay. Is that because you're not very good at playing?
Nah, I think I like the fact that it's not my job.
Are you a batter or a bowler?
I'm a bowler. Bowling all-rounder, I'd call myself.
Nice.
But yeah, it's nice to...
bowler, spin?
I wouldn't go as far as say fast, but in that category.
Great.
No, it's nice. I get to play with my mates when I do get the chance, and yeah, my dad if he ever dusts the boots back off.
Okay, and then finally some quick fire, very random ones that we've had sent in.
Brilliant.
Reese has asked, what's your go-to meal at Nando's?
I like the chicken pitta with I don't know what it's called, with the halloumi and the sweet chili jam.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice. Shah has asked, what's your favourite holiday destination?
I'll go with Portugal and some nice egg tarts.
Very good, very good. And then a final question then from Latoya, who's asked, would you rather never eat cheese again or never eat chocolate again? It's not a question I would want to have to ever be posed with.
Oh, so you can't have them in any dish?
Yep, just completely out of your life.
I'm going to have to give this some thought, but I'll provisionally go for cheese.
Great.
I'll go without cheese.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure if I could live without cheese, to be honest, but there we go.
So go on then. What are you going for?
What would I go for? I think I'd really struggle to live without cheese. I think like chocolate has like substitutes like sweets and like crumble.
Yeah,
I love crumble.
Chocolate brownie.
Yeah, that's true. You couldn't have that.
Bar of some sort.
Well, thank you so much for joining me, Alex. some great questions and some great answers as well from you. I think we've learned a lot from your time. So thank you for joining us on Park Life.
Thank you for having me.
All right, time for that giveaway then. The rules are very simple. I'm about to ask 3 questions about Exeter City's start to the 2023-24 League One season. All you've got to do is leave your answers to each question in the comments below the post advertising this episode of Park Life on either Facebook or Twitter. And you could be in for a chance of winning those 2 big bank tickets to City's game against Northampton Town on the 30th of September. It could not be easier. All right, are you ready? First question. Who scored City's winning goal in our 2-1 win over Reading in August? Question 2. How many goals has captain Will Aimson scored this season? And question 3. Which midfielder registered their first assist for the Grecians against Leyton Orient last weekend? That's all the questions done, so remember to leave your answers in the comments below the post advertising this episode on either Twitter or Facebook, and you could get your hands on those tickets. It's been a little while since we've had a pair of Grecians head away on international duty mid-season. Both Viljami Sinisalo and Ilmari Niskanen have certainly earned the right to play for their national team this month. So to check in on how they got on, I spoke to Finnish football journalist Eetu Ikola to ask how they performed during their European qualifiers against Kazakhstan and Denmark. Eetu, welcome to Park Life. Thanks so much for joining us. I've been really looking forward to this. It's been a bit of a rarity for Exeter City to have an international player on their team. You have to go back a few years to find our last one, so to have two of such quality in Ilmari Niskanen and Viljami Sinisalo is a great treat for us Grecians. But I wanted to start off with Finland's qualification campaign for Euro 2024, which both players were in the squad for. As things stand, you sit third in Group H, just 1 point behind Slovenia and Denmark, who make up those two qualification places with 4 games yet to play. Crunch time now. Do you think you'll make it through?
I do think we'll make it through. First of all, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it. But yeah, I do think that even though it would have been nice to pick up that 1 point against Denmark, because obviously that was the big game. But I think it was even more important to get the win from Kazakhstan, because obviously they were higher up as well. And with Slovenia, on the other hand, they've already played San Marino twice, and you need to be realistic. Like we should get that like sorted as well. And I am confident, but Slovenia away in the next qualifying games, I think that's going to be the key match.
It's going to be tough, and you might have to call on a couple of your Grecians. So let's talk about one of them. And I'll start with Ilmari Niskanen. He's a player who's been in the national team for a little while now, since making his debut back in 2020. He's quick, agile, explosive, clearly a very talented player. How highly do the Finnish supporters rate Ilmari?
I think they do, but like he was out for a while because back in Dundee things were tough. So was in like Germany, and so many of them, the fans, they only remember him from like playing in Finland for cups, and obviously like I think now with Exeter, him showing his form there, and in those games where he's actually playing and like gets that like support from the club, I think he's shown like good quality in the national team as well. But yeah, I mean, the things like work rate, his stamina, the engine that he has, like those are always like his best qualities. And obviously he's now played in the wing back role. I think it was like a year ago in a friendly against Norway, where he was sort of put in that position for the first time. Obviously playing as a left wing at first, and so on. Like he did well, and then some difficult stuff came out in Dundee, and now that he's back in the club role, I mean, Marko Kanerva, the national team coach, he obviously like clearly appreciates these things in Niskanen, and I think he's also like he has that danger up front. Like he's good with crosses, for example. He's not too afraid of shooting, so those are obviously like great qualities.
Yeah, and Imi's really embracing being back in the side, taking up that position on the left side, which maybe we've seen more of him at that sort of right wing back role at Exeter so far this season. But playing on that left side, he's clearly embracing it, clearly really enjoying it. Is that the sort of feeling you get from him?
Yeah, definitely. Like he's always so happy whenever he gets to play wherever. Like I do think like left wing is still his like favorite position, but like he's adapted well to the wing back role, and I think he's like what they've told like from the national team maybe is like the improvement defensively, because obviously you have a lot to do with running and stuff, but yeah.
Yeah, he did play all 90 minutes against Kazakhstan in that 1-0 victory, courtesy of a late goal from Nordsjælland forward Oliver Antman. I'm sure you like that pronunciation there.
No,
what impact did Niskanen have from that left-hand side?
To be honest, he started off tough. Like there was a few fouls there. Like he took a while for him to get into the game, but I gotta say, like the pitch was awful. Like so many of the players were complaining about it. It was slippery. It was like Astro basically, but he was like rock solid, and he wasn't a great like pitch to play on. But yeah, there was one moment nearing the end of the game, which was him basically blocking a certain goal, and that was like definitely worth scoring one, really, like, because yeah, it was a great tackle, and it went unnoticed at first because it was like such a like hassle in the box in that moment, but yeah, it was a key moment and definitely deserved to start against Denmark, but yeah, things didn't go that well in there.
Well, yeah, things didn't go particularly well in that second game. He started the game, of course, in that same left wing back position, but had to come off after just 13 minutes. His injury didn't look too bad, but how much was he missed in that game against your Scandinavian rivals, Denmark?
Yeah, so the situation was quite difficult. So he dislocated his shoulder after like 80 seconds of game. Just he like took a stumble or something, like landed on his hand in a awkward position or whatever, and then he needed some treatment. They popped it back in like on the pitch, but and he was like all right to play, but then it started hurting, and after around 10 minutes of play, he in the middle of running, he popped back out, and they couldn't. He just had to leave, and so they popped it back in the dressing room. I heard the way it's very cruel because he actually told me this was the first time he's ever during his professional career like being subbed off because of an injury. So for it to have like even be a shoulder injury stuff, it's just so unlucky. But it's like the thing is with him is he spends so much time on recovery, like just stretching and stuff. Like it's even a bit of a general joke around the Finland national team, like amongst the players, that like just how much he's wearing the whatever silly looking recovery trousers, the Normatec ones, I think they are. And so he has that sort of character. He's very good at taking care of himself in that way. But it's just very unlucky that I really hope that it's nothing more serious than just a couple of weeks of being out.
Yeah, and I suppose he's a model professional in that sense, isn't he? You know, an expert when it comes to those sort of things, and takes his career very seriously, which is clear to see. But let's move on to our next flying Finn. Of course, the charismatic Viljami Sinisalo, somebody who has really taken to Exeter City, and the fans have taken to him as well. From what we've seen so far, he looks a real talent who's capable of playing much higher than League One in the future from what we've seen so far. Is he considered just as special by the Finnish supporters?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Like, obviously he's still up and coming, but to be third choice keeper for the national team for so many, well, I think this was the fifth international break in a row now, and he's obviously played in one friendly earlier in the year as well for the first team, and still being 21. He's definitely being appreciated, and it all looks very promising. You're right, like he definitely has that like Premier League dream, and I see no reason why he wouldn't be. Like I've spoke to Antiniemi, who's, well, English people very familiar with him, Scottish people even more because of that phone call. But like, he's a big fan of him as well. It's just that like that character of him. He's so determined, but also level-headed and just humble. Like he's hardworking and great focused young player.
He really seems to enjoy playing football, whether it's for Exeter, whether it's for Finland, always with a smile on his face. It's infectious in many ways. Do you think his personality rubs off on some of the other players?
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if it did, because I agree with that. Like, and it's so tough because like at Burton, for example, last season things weren't going as well. I don't think he was minding too often, but like now it just means so much to him as well. Like he was so hyped up about like the fact that, for example, now Exeter, they actually they asked Imi and Vil to bring the national team shirts to the club museum, because like the whole sort of vibe is just like through the roof, really. And yeah, they're definitely enjoying it.
I believe you've got another story to tell me a little bit about what might have happened during the Leyton Orient game. Obviously, the Finland players away on international duty. Just give me a little bit of insight as to what happened there.
Yeah, so the thing was, like, you obviously played on Saturday, normal kickoff of 3 p.m. and so the Finland players were having some kind of a gym workout in the Finland Olympic Stadium, and I think it was Vil who put up the game on the big screen, and yeah, so they had half the squad watching, even like the coach Kanerva, he was there as well, but I think they only caught like the first half or the second half because they had to go out to the pitch. But yeah, it was like another great moment to sort of bring Exeter to Finland in a way, and sort of, well, obviously unfortunate for the score, but yeah, they'll be back in the next game, thankfully. Bill will at least, so that's good.
It's nice, isn't it, for all of the players to sort of embrace Vil's love for Exeter City. It really does feel like he has found a new love in Exeter City Football Club. Clearly, you know, wanting to show off the team in many ways to his teammates. I think that says a lot about how he's enjoying life at the club.
Definitely.
But in terms of Vil's sort of long-term future with Finland, obviously it's a bit of a challenge to compete with Bayer Leverkusen captain Lukas Hradecky for the number 1 shirt. But Sinisalo does have a cap to his name after he started against Estonia back in January. It's the game that you mentioned. Do Finnish supporters maybe see him as the long-term replacement for Hradecky?
Yeah, definitely. So Hradecky is like, he's 33 years old now, and the idea for the national team actually is actually like sort of keep Hradecky as the first choice, and obviously like until the day he retires, which will be maybe from 5 to 7 years maybe. That's the moment when Sinisalo will step in. Obviously, like Jesse Jorones, the second choice keeper, he's also like superb, but I think the idea is for them to sort of get him ready for the number 1 role now as a young goalkeeper, and then the moment Hradecky moves on, then that's the moment when Sinisalo steps in. But like, it's obviously up to him. Like, he knows that it's a huge factor what he does on the club level, and Aston Villa, obviously great side. They expect a lot from him. So yeah, future will tell more. But yeah, the idea is for him to later on in the future to be the number 1.
And finally, do you think Exeter City has gained a few new Finnish supporters?
I think so. Like now, obviously, League One is maybe, well, we don't really get that on the TV, if I'm being honest. But I think the last time there was like 2 Finnish players playing for the same English club, with British football obviously being huge in Finland. I think that was like in over 10 years ago, 2011 or so, when Mikael Forsell, who played for Chelsea in Birmingham, he was playing in Leeds with Mika Väyrynen. So yeah, it's been a while since there's been 2 Finnish players in the same English club. So obviously we need to hope it brings more fans to the club as well. I think the more they play together, the more Sinisalo, he's obviously like, he's made a huge impact. Like in the top 4 leagues right now, he's had the highest save percentage of all. Like, that's actually like, it's mad. The best safest hands in 92, and yeah, it's crazy. Like, he's made a big impact, and it will only go on from here.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thank you so much for talking to me, Eetu. It's been really fascinating to get your side of the sort of opinion on these 2 characters who we love at Exeter City, but I'm sure that, well, we now know that they're equally as loved of the Finland national team. So thank you so much for talking to me.
No worries. Thank you so much for having me.
Finally, ahead of Exeter City women's huge game against Moneyfields at the Park next week, I sat down with Tash Knapman to discuss her return to Exeter City and how much they're looking forward to seeing you all at the Park. Tash, welcome to Park Life and welcome back to Exeter City Football Club. I know it's been a couple of months since you signed, but how have you found it since being back at the club?
Yeah, it's all been positive. I was very excited to come back to the club after seeing how well they did last season and after talking to Abby over pre-season. And yeah, I'm just excited to be here and happy to get going.
It seems like a great group of girls that you've got in the team at the moment. Obviously, morale is really high after last season, coming so close to promotion, just missing out. But this year, another promotion push, I guess. It looks like a really good atmosphere in that dressing room at the moment.
Yeah, and all the girls are lovely and they've been so welcoming as well. I mean, when I came to the club in pre-season, I was impressed from session one. Everyone was just really friendly. And yeah, just a really nice bunch of girls who, came very close to winning the league last year. I was following them online. And yeah, hopefully we can go one better this year and actually win the league.
Let's hope so. When I spoke to Zoe Watkins just after your first game of the season, she spoke really passionately about both the women's game and also Exeter City women, of course. She was telling me how engagement with the team has grown massively, especially over the last 2 years, and she expects that interest to grow even further. Already this season, you've broken your attendance record at Exwick Sports Hub against Plymouth Argyle in the Cup. And now you're preparing for a huge game against Moneyfields at St James Park next week. How excited are you by the direction that the club's heading in? Because it only seems to be going up.
Definitely, it is only getting better and getting bigger. I think since the success at the Women's Euros and the World Cup, interest into women's football has grown massively. And I say it's only on the rise. We seem to be getting more supporters through the door every week. It's engaging with fans on social media and at games. It's great to have all the mascots there as well. So yeah, it's really positive.
For sure. And since your victory over Bridgewater in the season opener, the team have gone on to make a really positive start on the pitch too. Despite defeat to Plymouth in the Cup, you've gone on to record comprehensive victories over Swindon and then local rivals Torquay United, a game which saw City put 7 past the goals, which is an incredible result. And then on Sunday, you managed to get yourselves into the next round of the FA National Plate by beating Abingdon United 5-1, courtesy of a goal from none other than yourself. What a brilliant start to the season.
Yeah, definitely. As a team, we've got off to a flying start this season. I know, we had the defeat to Plymouth Argyle, but in the league, we've started really strongly. And yeah, we're looking forward to playing at St James's Park next week, hopefully in front of a lot of fans, and they can all see what we can do and we can put on a good show for them.
For sure. But before that big game at SJP, which we'll talk about very soon, you've got to get past Chelsea, who haven't had the best start to the season, it must be said. 4 games, 4 defeats, a minus 39 goal difference. Surely the message heading into this one, though, will simply be, don't be complacent.
Absolutely. You can only take one game at a time. And I say, if you go into it thinking that you're going to do well, then we can't have that mindset. We need to go into the game thinking, right, it's 0-0. We need to put on the best performance we can. We've all got to work for each other, and hopefully the result will go our way.
And if it does, then I suppose the atmosphere going into the big game at St James Park against Moneyfields in front of hopefully a packed out St James Park is going to be huge. These games have been huge in the success of the women's team over the past couple of years. Games against Plymouth, Bournemouth, Portishead, they've all drawn in huge crowds at the park. The latter even broke the attendance record for the women's team at just under 3,000 supporters. How much are you looking forward to this one?
Yeah, it would be amazing. I mean, unfortunately, last time I played at St James's Park, I was on the losing end playing for Plymouth Argyle. But the atmosphere there that day was unbelievable. And I say the roar from the crowd when City scored was, it was great. I can only imagine how the girls felt that day having the support behind them. I say hopefully if we win this weekend, we'll take the momentum of the last few games into the St James's Park game and go into it with a bit of confidence and putting on a good show and hopefully having a record crowd.
And it's a lovely atmosphere down at Exwick, a real family atmosphere, which is something that Zoe particularly highlighted when she came on just a couple of weeks ago. Do you feel like that is continuing to grow even more now that even more people are packing into Exwick?
Yeah, definitely. I say hopefully if we do break the record attendance at St James's Park for women's football, more people want to come down to Exwick to see us on a Sunday, which, it's fantastic.
And finally, the team came so close to promotion last season, only missing out on goal difference, which I know was heartbreaking. Do you think the team can go one better this year?
I certainly hope so. It's definitely our aim. Our aim is to be up there competing and, hopefully win the league. But as I said, we can only take it one game at a time. We can't get too complacent. We can't get too ahead of ourselves. Just one game at a time, and just put on the best performance that we can every week and see what happens.
Thank you so much for talking to me, Tash. It's been great to hear your thoughts, and ahead of that big game against Moneyfields at SJP next week even. And you can get your tickets for that over on the club website. Thank you so much for joining me, Tash.
Thank you very much.
That's all for this episode of Park Life, the official Exeter City podcast. Let us know what you want to hear more of via our social media channels, and don't forget to hit the follow button so you never miss an episode. Thanks for listening. Up the City.
He's been picked out. Socks down to his ankle. Picks out Stansfield. That's the hat-trick. And that's what dreams are made of.